Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest technical analysis. We'll also be discussing the latest breaking news, including many headlines. Billionaire Paul Tudor Jones tells Andrew Sorkin, "I am long Bitcoin. I own zero fixed income." Also, pro-Bitcoin Trump's lead in the election is up by over 30% in the odds, according to Polymarket. I'll also be sharing the latest updates from Samson Mao, as well as from Max Kaiser, who says, Bitcoin banks are no substitute for self-custody. If you can avoid counterparty risks, avoid it. We'll also be discussing Peter Todd, forced into hiding after the HBO documentary claims he is the inventor of Bitcoin. We'll also be discussing the BlackRock IBIT investors throwing $329 million into the ETF as Bitcoin currently dips. We'll also be discussing Bitcoiners slam Mikey Sailor for throwing weight behind too big to fail banks. We'll also be discussing a top trader predicting a Bitcoin breakout to 100,000 following months of consolidation, as well as Quantile Model analyst predicts $135,000 to $285,000 Bitcoin price target for 2025. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes, then go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell icon to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every day, just like this. Today is pod 1795. I'm your host, JV. It's October 22nd, 2024. Bitcoin's maintaining at roughly 67,500. Let's get right into Coin360 here. With our market watch, it should be pulling up on your screen any moment, any second now. Here we go. Yeah, so we got Bitcoin, Ether, XRP pulling back in the red, Solana, Cardano, Tron in the green. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. Current crypto market cap sits at $2.33 trillion. The Bitcoin market cap sitting at $1.333 trillion. What an omen. And 76.5 billion worth of volume in the past 24 hours. And the Bitcoin dominance is on the climb, 57.3%, with the Ether dominance at 13.6%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers of the past 24 hours, we got PopCat up 10.5%, followed by Beam up 4.5%, followed by Uni up 4.5%. Let me know which alt, if any, you're bullish on for this particular bull. And checking out the crypto bubbles on the daily, safe to say 60% of the market in the red, and on the monthly, I'd say safe to say 70 to 80% of the market in the green. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today we're a 70 in greed. Yesterday 72. Last week at 65. And last month at 52, which is neutral. And checking out the time chain calendar. We have 183,111 blocks to go until Bitcoin halving 2028. And we're currently on block number 866,889. And you can currently exchange 1,400, or you can exchange $1 for 1,482 sats. So stack them sats accordingly. Bitcoin traders expect price pullbacks, but 73,000 remains the short-term target. That's right. Bitcoin analysts are eyeing targets just below its current all-time high of 73.8. However, they caution that despite the strong chart structure following the push above 69, the road ahead may be volatile. Bitcoin is looking incredibly strong right now on the technical front, according to Zero Cap Chief Investment Officer at Jonathan Day Wet, who wrote, Deb Wet pointed out the Bitcoin has broken the descending trend line for June. An observation also pointed out by several other analysts, quoting Jelly, "We practiced patience for months, uncharted territory on the horizon. Bitcoin price has been frustrating for many this last 7 months, but has actually allowed the price action to re-enter the zone. However, we have CoinStash, a co-founder Mena, warning in an October 21st market report that geopolitical risks could also create the short-term short-term pullbacks, particularly after the recent turbulence in China and the Middle East. Bitcoin has reacted negatively to signs of geopolitical conflict in recent times. And as reported after a major missile strike by Iran targeting sites across Israel late on October 1st, the Bitcoin price fell nearly 4,000. However, October 21st, Bitcoin spiked above 69,000 for the first time since June 11th, 69 G's. And since then, it has retraced approximately 3%, trading at roughly 67,000. Now, the analyst went on to explain that once Bitcoin clears 70,000, which it hasn't reached since June 7th, it is likely to see a spike to 72,000 fairly quickly. And according to the analyst, breaking through its current all-time high of 73.8 reached in March won't come without some chop along the way. He is confident of the asset breaking through that level before the end of 2024. Do we get above highs prior to the end of the year? We think so. Let me know if you agree with the analysts. And another analyst pointed out, especially we're seeing investors buy into Bitcoin exponentially faster than it can be mined. And great point. I mean, the institutional adoption is BlackRock alone some days 10x the mine supply of the IBIT, so supply shock in full effect. And in breaking news, billionaire Paul Tudor Jones tells Andrew Sorkin, I am long Bitcoin, I own zero fixed income. And as you can see here, Trump's lead in the election is up over 30% in the odds, according to Polymarket, the most accurate odds you're going to find on the election. Why? Because there's money on the line. This is a betting line, family. And Samson Mao shared a very epic post. I'm going to read it. Executive Order 6102 didn't confiscate gold in the same way. No one was forced to get the mRNA shot. A government doesn't need to physically confiscate your Bitcoin. It can just lock custodial Bitcoin into approved custodians forever, aka institutional Bitcoin. And then it can drive the price of that Bitcoin lower by decreasing its utility. While a government that isn't on a Bitcoin standard technically shouldn't have an incentive to confiscate the Bitcoin because it can freely print the money, it actually does still have an incentive to degrade and attack Bitcoin. The reason is because a harder and superior money makes whatever they print less valuable. Common sense, right? Which means they need to print more and at a faster rate. Plan accordingly. Expect 6102. Wise words. I've been warning you guys about the Bitcoin ETF BTC potentially being confiscated. Max Kaiser has been blowing the horn on it, and this makes all the sense in the world. Of course, it's a threat to their fiat monopoly. You feel me? And Max tweeted, Bitcoin banks are no substitute for the self-custody. If you can avoid counterparty risk, avoid it. Bitcoin on deposit in a Bitcoin bank, unlike Bitcoin in self-custody, has a degree of counterparty risk. El Salvador has opened Bitcoin banks with these caveats clearly stated. If you see someone making false claims about non-self-custody risks, know that they have an agenda that is incompatible with the Bitcoin best practices, clearly referring to Mikey Sailor, and we'll dive into that story a little later with Michael. But first, let's pull up some of the live charts. This is the 1 hour chart, live and in the flesh right now via TradingView, via Coinbase. The 1 hour chart shows you, we do have a tremendous amount of targets out here as we are hovering around 67.5. The blue bull target is sitting at just shy of 69,000, and we have a bottom bear target sitting all the way down at $63,500. And zooming out, from the 1 hour, let's go to the 4 hour. 4 hour chart. You can see we have a massive 81,300 target, and we have a bearish 49,500 target. That's on the 4 hour chart. Zooming out from there, we'll check out the 1 day. The daily chart shows you a rising wedge formation, definitely a bullish indicator. Notice that of the past 10 days, the majority have been big green Godzilla candle closes, but we just embarked on a big red candle close for yesterday as we're correcting, and we do have a couple of targets here on your screen, one at 49.6 and one at 47.7 on the daily chart. And zooming out from the daily, we go to the weekly. We still have the sexy cup and handle target sitting at roughly $124,000 in play right now for Q4, October, in full swing. And zooming out on the monthly, you get a broader perspective. You can see we've been trading sideways, choppy chop for the past 7 months, but I think the bullish momentum continues here in October. Now, obviously, this Bitcoin Satoshi Nakamoto documentary solving the mystery of Satoshi, allegedly. They got Peter Todd as Satoshi. Now, this is an interesting headline. Peter Todd forced into hiding after that damn HBO doc claim he invented the Bitcoin. Who's responsible? Well, who's the primary shareholder of Homebox? HBO. Guess what? It's BlackRock. That's right. BlackRock and Vanguard are the primary shareholders of HBO. If you don't know now, you know. Maybe Peter Todd needs to sue HBO, a.k.a. BlackRock. Canadian cryptographer and computer scientist Peter Todd says he's been forced into hiding for fear of his safety after an HBO documentary supposedly outed him as the inventor of the Bitty. The film dubbed Money Electric. How many of you watched it? Let me know. The Bitcoin Mystery. It aired on October 9th. We've covered it here on the pod. And it was purported to finally reveal the mystery of the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto, the son of the person thought to be the inventor of the Bitty. But ultimately, after exploring other potential candidates, the documentary ended on a dubious note, with Todd stating, well, yeah, I am Satoshi Nakamoto. Todd had repeatedly denied he is Satoshi and dismissed the film's claims, according to a recent interview with Wired. He has been forced into hiding over fears for his safety. He says the filmmaker, Colin Hoback, the documentary's director, used specious evidence to support the documentary's erroneous conclusion. However, according to several sources and footage shown in the documentary itself, Todd evidently had a history of jokingly stating, I am Satoshi, and apparently they're using that against him. These statements appear to have been made in the vein of the famous line, I am Spartacus, from the revolutionary film, No, It Is I Who Am Spartacus. In the 1960 action film Spartacus, a group of warriors were captured by the Roman soldiers and offered mercy if they'll identify and send forth the man known as Spartacus. In response, the warriors each claimed in turn, I am Spartacus. That's right. I am Satoshi. And according to Wired, Todd agreed to appear in the HBO documentary because he believed it was about the history of Bitcoin as opposed to the attempted expose. Todd says that not only has he been incorrectly identified as Satoshi, but that his life is now in constant danger, quoting him here. Obviously, falsely claiming that ordinary people of ordinary wealth are extraordinarily rich exposes them to threats like robbery and kidnapping. Not only is the question dumb, it is dangerous. Satoshi obviously didn't want to be found for good reasons, and no one should help people trying to find Satoshi. That's right. Now, there's only one man unjokingly claiming to be Satoshi, and that was denied in a court lawsuit over in the UK, and that's Craig Wright, aka Fake Toshi. However, Electric Money's director seemingly takes a different view. Wired reports that Hoback claims Todd and others have blown things out of proportion, and the idea of outing Nakamoto has so far posed no real threat to those investigated. There's potentially this anonymous figure out there who controls 1/20th of the total supply of the digital gold, 1.1 million Bitcoin to be exact, but who's counting? And while both men appear to be sticking to their stories, the so-called reveal don't appear to have convinced many within the crypto community that Todd is in fact Satoshi Nakamoto. That's right. In fact, many people believe he is not Satoshi. So that's kind of wild, right? Was the doc a psyop? Very strong possibility there, considering BlackRock owns HBO. While BlackRock's IBIT investors throw $329 million into the ETF, is Bitcoin just 3%? That's right. Check this out. The Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, FBTC, was the only other U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF to record an inflow with 5.9 million on October 21st yesterday, while others recorded zero or negative flows. It was the third time in 4 trading days that BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF received over 300 million in inflows, according to Farside data. BlackRock's IBIT continued to lead all spot Bitcoin ETF products, crossing the 23 billion mark in total net inflows. October 21st, Bloomberg ETF analyst Balchunas noted IBIT posted the third largest ETF inflows in 2024, trailing only Vanguard and BlackRock's S&P 500 index funds, tickered VOO and IVV. It comes at a Bitcoin price drop 3.25% to a daily low of roughly 67 on October 21st after failing to break 70 Gs freeze, price resistance. It cut into the 10-day price surge that saw Bitcoin rise from 59 to 69 via CoinGecko, and market selling off slightly today as expected, and that's okay. According to analyst Jelly, other traders such as Emperor said a price pullback to the 62 range may be in the cards this week after Bitcoin posted its highest weekly close in 5 months on October 20th. The Bitcoin price surge between October 11th and the 21st had been primarily attributed to traders speculating on the upcoming U.S. election. Meanwhile, total net inflows across all the spot Bitcoin ETFs currently amount to $21 billion, which includes over $20 billion in outflows from GBTC. Good Lord. So ultimately, that $20 billion in outflows from GBTC went right into BlackRock's IBIT, as they have over $20 billion in volume. Craziness. But let's continue, family. Here's the latest controversy with Mikey Sailor being slammed by trusting the banks. Too big to fail banks, that is. MicroStrategy Executive Chair Sailor was slammed over his latest comments recommending Bitcoin custodianship to the too big to fail financial institutions rather than using the self-custody, something he once championed. Now, Sailor controversially suggested October 21st in an interview with Madison Rady the Bitcoiners have nothing to lose by transferring their Bitcoin institutions. Come on now. There's nothing to lose? Sailor is seen as a champion for the biddy, and his comment appears to be in stark contrast to his previous support of crypto self-custody. Anybody thinking a state-sanctioned Bitcoin seizure is possible is a paranoid crypto antichrist. Wow. That's wild comment coming from Sailor. When asked whether the U.S. government might strip Bitcoin hodlers of their self-custody rights in a way that holding gold was made illegal in 1933. It is a myth and a trope that goes on over and over again. According to Michael Sailor, there's just a lot of fear that is unnecessary. No, we don't trust our government. It's completely necessary, Michael. Completely necessary. Now, instead of relying on the hardware wallet, Sailor said it would be better to rely on the too big to fail banks that are engineered to be the custodians of the financial assets. I completely disagree with the Giga Chad here. His apparent U-turn on self-custody wasn't received well. Of course not. Quoting some people here, Sailor's on a mission to relegate Bitcoin into an investment pet rock and halt its usage as a currency, said Cena. Michael Sailor is the leading voice and influencer on Bitcoin by a mile and says you don't need to self-custody. You should trust your government and institutions. Government would never confiscate your custodial Bitcoin. You're a paranoid crypto antichrist. Oh my God. I'm shocked Sailor even took it that far. But anyways, OG Bitcoiner and author of Bank to the Future, Simon Dixon, speculated Sailor was undermining the importance of the self-custody because it wouldn't benefit MicroStrategy's long-term plan, bingo, to turn it into a Bitcoin bank and offer collateralized loans. Bitcoin, am I saying this right? Is that not Antichrist? What does it say? Anarchrist? I'm just going to say Antichrist because I don't know the word Anarchrist. So anyways, Bitcoin Antichrist. Keep helping people gain freedom from banks, governments, and central banks, Dixon said. John Carvalho, CEO of Bitcoin payment firm Synonym, also criticized Sailor's change in tune, highlighting that he used to claim Bitcoin is hope for everyone. Quoting him here, I am curious what exactly that means if we must discount the paranoid crypto antichrists and their tropes as salesmen with ulterior motives. How dare you, Sailor? Shortly after the FTX crash in November of 2022, Sailor claimed Bitcoin self-custody prevented powerful custodians from corrupting the Bitcoin network. Quoting him here, in systems where there is no self-custody, the custodians accumulate too much power, and then they can abuse that power precisely. You nailed it there, Mikey. Now, if you can't self-custody your coin, there's no way to establish a decentralized network. Facts. And that's something that he shared himself. Sailor even recommended remembering your 12-word seed phrase and telling people to go F themselves if they come for you. You remember the infamous lines. You can tell everybody to go F themselves if they come for your Bitcoin. You put it in your memory, blah, blah, blah. Go F yourselves. Tax that. Anyways, still others were more supportive of Sailor's take. Here's someone, Julian Figueroa, founder of the GetBase, said, institutions are not and never will be. What the hell is this word? Anarchist or Antichrist? I don't know. Smaller businesses and plebs can have hardware wallets and sovereignty, but 200 plus employee institutions, pensions, and wealth funds will need Bitcoin banks. Head analyst of Bitcoin mining firm Blockware Solutions, Mitchell Sailor, was willing to stomach the criticism to make Bitcoin less sketchy. And I'm going to go back to Samson Mao's post because it's worth reading it again. Shout out Samson Mao. Executive Order 6102 didn't confiscate gold in the same way. No one was forced to get the mRNA shot. A government doesn't need to physically confiscate your Bitcoin. It can just lock custodial Bitcoin into approved custodians forever, aka institutional Bitcoin. And then it can drive the price of that Bitcoin lower by decreasing its utility. While a government that isn't on a Bitcoin standard technically shouldn't have incentive to confiscate the Bitcoin because it can freely print money, it actually does still have an incentive to degrade and attack the Bitcoin. The reason is because a harder, superior money makes whatever they print less valuable, which means they need to print more money at a faster rate. Plan accordingly. Expect 6102. So there you go. Let me know if you agree with Mikey Sailor or Samson Mao and Max Kaiser, Simon Dixon, and the rest of the Bitcoin OGs. Let's discuss this next target. Top trader predicts Bitcoin breakout at 100 Gs following months of consolidation, but there is a big catch. That's right. We got Don Alt warning Bitcoin will likely witness a deep corrective move after a strong breakout surge. Quoting him here. My base case is right now we are going to break out and is going to get smacked down. We're going to go to 80, 90, maybe $100,000 if this breaks out. Now we're going to go back down to 60,000 and then have 60,000 be a base and do all that boring consolidation stuff. But my base case is where we're going to break out. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. The trader says he's not convinced the Bitcoin will see a sustained uptrend after the initial breakout. Quoting him here, I think there's a good chance that the breakout doesn't really stick now. I think we are going to then consolidate around 60,000 and then it might stick on the next attempt. It is just on this attempt I am not entirely sure, but the trader knows that he may shift his stance depending upon the future market conditions. Quoting him here, but I can change my mind. If I am bullish now and we go to the 90,000 and then I just see bullishness everywhere, I can change my mind. I can be like, hey, my idea of what we're going to do when we get here is just one I don't agree with anymore. And I can just change my mind and go like that. Exactly. Of course you can change your mind. But let me know your thoughts with the 100,000 inevitable here. I think 100 Gs still in play for Q4 sometime, obviously, if not here in October, breaking an all-time high. I'm still very confident sometime in November. Election month, which is only 2 weeks out, the election, we're likely to hit new all-time highs, 80, 90,000 range, potentially 100,000, potentially that weekly cup and handle pattern at 124,000 here in the Q4. Now for our feature story of the day. The Quantile Model analysts are predicting Bitcoin smashing $285,000 per coin next year in 2025. Let's break this mofo down. Here you go. Bitcoin's strong weekly return of 10% exhibited a clear bullish breakout above the descending trendline pattern, which has been active since March of this year. And in light of that, Sina, co-founder of 21st Capital, indicating the current price of Bitcoin falls between the lowest consolidation price range for 2025, according to the Quantile Model. Now, how many of you are familiar with this model? Let me know. Sina presented a study that classified Bitcoin's probability space utilizing a quantile regression model and outlined 3 specific zones for Bitcoin in 2025. The analyst mentioned that each zone represented a different price range and market sentiment termed as cold, warm, and hot. Well, clearly the red must be the hot, and that's where we're getting to $285,000. So as you can see in the chart, the cold zone below 33% for 2025 ranges between 55 and 85,000, which includes the current Bitcoin price. This particular wavelength has been outlined as the lowest probable value for the Bitcoin, with seasoned investors expecting to build positions while keeping long-term targets above 100,000 in mind. Now, the warm zone, 33 to 66%, ranges between 85 and 136,000. Sina mentioned the majority of the retail will start paying attention during this valuation spectrum as Bitcoin forms new all-time highs and goes under price discovery. Investors may gradually build positions in this range with overexposure. Now, the hot zone, now we're talking, between 66 and 99% indicates the peak Bitcoin range between 136 and 285,000 per coin by the end of 2025, so 1 year out, where Bitcoin is expected to consolidate a third of the upcoming year with respect to each zone. Here's what the analyst shared. The 33% quantile ranges coincide perfectly with Bitcoin phase transitions. Bitcoin just likes to spend 1/3 of its time in each zone and then transition to the other zone like clockwork. Most of the bear market is 33%, and bull market euphoria begins at 66%. Did someone say euphoria? Don't make me play my Kendrick. Cena added that the prices would move with the most volatility in the hot zone, where profit taken in over-leveraged positions will lead to fast market reversals. So let's get to that hot zone already, eh? And as you can tell, Bitcoin's currently consolidating. We just tapped 69.5 2 days ago. We had a pump watch the other day. We streamed for like 13 hours. Let me know if you were on the live stream, but nonetheless, let me know if you agree or disagree with this quantile model. Can you see the red hot zone sending Bitcoin to 285,000 before the end of next year in 2025? Holla at your boy. I'm going to read your comments out loud and welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. Now hit the likes, you bunch of degens. Thanks for the reminder, JBZ. This is for you, broski. The more negative news you hear, the more to hodl and scoop up the biddy. It's immune to the BS. Amen. Of course. Well said there, brother. This is weird. I have something similar happen. It may take the stream stopping for it to show up. Are you talking about the sticker? Yeah, sometimes YouTube got a mind of its own. We are streaming, fam. We're live on X, Rumble, and YouTube right now. Just reading comments. This is the Q&A segment. Let me know your thoughts regarding the quantile model I just shared. I'm going to read your comments out loud. Oompas, they're here, brother.
Oompa, loompa, doompa-dee-doo. I've got another halving for you.
Thank you, Hayab. I greatly appreciate it. I'm glad you're entertained. And a reminder, disclaimer, everything you hear during my stream is for entertainment purposes only. I do not give financial advice. Okay? Just want to make that very clear. My job is to entertain you and share the news in between the entertainment.
Oompa, loompa, doompa-dee-dee. Less mining rewards, more scarcity.
Ricky says, another great show. Thanks, JV and the gang. Well, this show is just getting started. We still have another hour to go, uncensored style. So if you're on the tube, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. I encourage you to visit the Rumble, where we'll continue the stream on X and Rumble. The direct Rumble link is rumble.cryptonewsalerts.net. So yeah, YouTube stream should be ending any moment. Do your own TA. TA Crystal Ball, BLX, the oldest of the Bitcoin charts. Bitcoin goes up on an average of 2 fib levels post one halving, 1.114 fib. Right on. All possible by the next halving on 4/28. Yeah, 2028 April. My 4 sons is sitting on my lap enjoying the stream. Shout out Ion Crypto and your 4 sons. I'm going to give you 4 gong hits specifically for your sons. Very light ones.